Hi, beautiful soul. This is Hanneke from Twin Soul Alchemy. Welcome to this channel on blossoming on the twin flame journey. In my previous video, I already did an energy update for twin flames on the October energies, but now I'd like to go a lot deeper into the impact of these energies on your twin flame connection and your spiritual journey. And I'm also going to link them with the recent solar eclipse we've experienced 2 weeks ago, and more importantly, the upcoming lunar eclipse. It's these two astrological events that are responsible for the two different energies that I talked about in my previous video. I talked about, on the one hand, feeling that the gas is being pushed in, and at the same time, the brake pedal is being pushed in. This solar eclipse that we had 2 weeks ago, it's still urging us to transform and to begin new cycles. It's this new energy that you're feeling coming in. It's an energy of manifestation, a powerful time to set intentions, to manifest your dreams and create the life that you're longing for. So this energy is bringing in new opportunities, and it's an energy that you can use to manifest a new timeline, but it might also bring some anxiety or unease because it's disrupting things and it can feel sometimes a little bit traumatic. The break energy that I talked about in my previous video is this upcoming lunar eclipse. By the way, if you haven't watched this video yet, I would encourage you to have a look. I will put the link up here because it's truly an overview of what is happening in October, the energy that is coming in, the energy that is leaving in the twin flame connection. So this lunar eclipse is encouraging us to release old emotions, to cleanse, to release the old emotional baggage. And it's a time for intuition and psychic insights. Your dreams may be more vivid, or you can have a heightened sense of intuition during the period of a lunar eclipse. If you like help with interpreting your dreams, you can always use the AI dream interpreter that I've created. There's a link in the description. A lunar eclipse is associated with emotions, and so they might bring about transformations or shifts in relationships. So as I've mentioned before, there's these two energies creating a tension. One energy, new energy coming in, amping you up, getting you ready to create and embody a new life. And on the other hand, the energy that is slowing us down, that is urging us to go inside, to go within, that is urging us to be patient. And that is this upcoming lunar eclipse. And it might feel as if one day you feel, yes, now I've transformed this old pattern. I'm ready to go. What's my next step? You're taking action based on the new energy, on your new self, the one that you've transformed the last couple of months. And the next day, you might suddenly feel stuck again in the old narrative. And that's because this Taurus full moon lunar eclipse is urging us, or is showing us, that there is still something to look at. And I'd like to go a little deeper in on themes that are coming up at this specific full moon, at this specific lunar eclipse. A couple of days ago, we entered into Scorpio season, and Scorpio is a water sign, and it is known for its intensity, its passion, its desire for deep, transformative experiences. And this upcoming full moon is in Taurus. And Taurus is an earth sign. It is ruled by Venus, and it's associated with stability, practicality, and a love for comfort and luxury. So a full moon in Taurus tends to highlight these themes and encourages us to seek out stability, to enjoy life's pleasures, and to focus on building a secure and comfortable foundation. You can see how these two can create a dynamic tension between the need for stability and the desire for transformation. And this can lead to an opportunity for grounding while at the same time having intense emotional experiences. Both Taurus and Scorpio can be associated with issues of power and control, A Taurus more in terms of material possessions and resources, and Scorpio in terms of emotional and interpersonal dynamics. So, what is actually being asked? What these energies are asking is to consider where you need to take control and where you need to let go. I don't know if you've been feeling this tension, but I've been feeling it as well in our Twin Soul Alchemy tribe on Facebook. There is a deep longing to ground the spiritual. It's so important to emphasize that whatever we are doing, the way that we use these energies, these cosmic events, these currents, if we use them to transform us on an emotional and spiritual level, eventually the purpose always is to eventually ground them, to put them into actions in the 3D physical reality, in our relationships, our connections, our daily activities. This brings up a very interesting theme and discussion in the Twin Flame Collective. It brings up the question, what do I need to let go? And where do I have to take control? And by taking control, I don't mean taking control as in our ego wanting to control external circumstances to feel safe. No, I mean, where do I have to act for myself? Where do I have to take responsibility for myself? How can I be present in my 3D life and act upon the spiritual wisdom and transformations that I have gone through? How can I put my spiritual journey into practice? So yes, our twin flame is our mirror, and they help us work through layers of emotional baggage, and they help us work through stagnant energies. And so yes, it feels like a romantic connection, and that's what drives us initially to go through these emotional layers. It's a catalyst to start a journey. And then while you're doing this, while you're going through it, your self-worth is growing and your self-love is growing and your personal power is growing. And you realize that there is only one way to stand in your life and to stand in your connection. You learn to be self-responsible and you become accountable for your own life. This also means that you become responsible or accountable for the connection, because that's what you choose. Well, if you choose that anyway. To me, the twin flame journey is not about a catalyst coming into our life, bringing the dark night of the soul, letting us remove block after block, going deeper and deeper and deeper, and then it just stops. No. It's important that whatever shifts that have happened, whatever transformations that have happened emotionally and spiritually, you have to put them into practice. And if you're not ready to put them into practice with your twin flame, someone else might come where you can practice this. But in the end, we are learning, practicing, being prepared to embody divine love in its highest form. And to me personally, it doesn't have to be anybody else's vision, but to me personally, that's with a twin flame. When you're both ready for this, with the emphasis on both, because even though you are responsible for your own life and for your specific role in the connection, you cannot take any responsibility for the other person in your connection, because that way you will take away their power. And believe me, there are so many subtle ways in which we take responsibility for our person. We don't do it on purpose, but the only way that we can leave responsibility with them is by taking responsibility for ourselves. And that means that you learn how to value yourself and put this into practice. You learn how to love yourself and put this into practice. You learn how to accept yourself unconditionally and put this into practice. You put this into practice by stepping into this connection and communicating. And it takes a lot of courage to do this. I know, but it's so worth it, because it helps you trust yourself and it helps you trust the universe, and it will grow your self-worth. This full moon in Taurus lunar eclipse is strongly calling for personal responsibility and intentionality in your spiritual journey. And that means that you step onto this timeline, the timeline that you've gained clarity on, during this solar eclipse or even before that, and you lead your life from this vision. Use the Taurus energy to ground yourself in self-love, in self-acceptance, in self-worth. Use this energy to stabilize this. But in order for you to do that, you have to be willing to go into the emotional depths of the Scorpio energy. First, you have to recognize the stories you've told yourself and then transform them into self-love. And then anchor them, stabilize them with the Taurus energy. It's about making a conscious choice for yourself. No matter what is happening outside of you, no matter what the other person in your connection is doing, the lunar eclipse is asking you to let go of your outdated and unhelpful aspects of your life. When we talk about letting go on the twin flame journey, it's always about that. It's not about pushing away another person because you believe that you have to let them go. It's about learning how to stand strong in the new version of yourself because you have let go of things that are not good for you, that are not working for you anymore. At some point, your vision about union is becoming so clear and you can almost touch it. It feels like you can almost touch it. This clarity will help you embody this inner union. And then letting go of outcomes becomes easier, and letting go of what the other person is doing becomes easier. This lunar eclipse is assisting us to go forward with this new energy, this new clarity brought by the solar eclipse. And this is how you can redefine your connection, because you are redefining and embodying your new self. I could break this up into what's going on with the feminine energy and what's going on with the masculine energy. I do feel that both energies are getting closer again. Divine Feminine is changing her communication. She's still being pushed to a more profound and authentic way of expressing herself, like the last couple of weeks. And of course, this brings with it a certain vulnerability. In order to communicate authentically, you have to dive deep into your own emotions and psyche. And when you communicate authentically, this changes also the dynamic within connections, because Divine Feminine is taking up authentic space. And this is challenging the masculine energy to evolve into a more mature divine version. It's also asking Divine Masculine to balance himself out, to change aggression into assertion, and from there into action. There is a sort of protective and supportive energy for Divine Masculine to make this transformation. To me, it feels like the masculine energy has been transforming for the last couple of weeks into a more mature version, but they haven't been able to remain stable. Sometimes masculine energy is in, then is out. I don't remember if I talked about this in one of my previous videos, but a couple of weeks ago, I personally felt a shift within myself, a more mature version of masculine energy coming up. And it said, that's enough. Now I'm here and I will protect you. Whatever it takes, I will be there to protect you. I will create the life that you're longing for, an authentic life. Whatever is going on in the world, there was this determination suddenly coming up. And of course, it was really nice to recognize that this internal shift, it also shifted my external reality. And after a period of absence, my Divine Masculine felt closer again. He opened up more and he was more present in my life significantly. I've seen it happen in other connections as well, and yet there is no stability in it yet. And that's okay. It's these two energies, the solar eclipse energy, the lunar eclipse energy, and it's a tension, and it's coming up and it's going down, coming up, going down, gas brake, and that's okay. It's because we're learning something. One last thing that I would like to give you is a little advice that whenever you feel like you've fallen back onto this older timeline, the one that you actually feel you want to let go, If you become aware of that, because sometimes it happens so subtle and we're so unconscious of this, but when you become aware that you're on this old timeline again, when you're not feeling good, you're having some sort of emotional pain, it's important to observe what is happening. Even though you might not feel it at that moment, there has been a change. So if you're back on the old timeline, what you can do is try to notice what is showing itself. What actually is this outdated pattern? You can ask yourself, how old is this part of you behaving? Is it behaving like a baby? Is it behaving like a toddler? Is it behaving like a small child, like a teenager? It sounds a bit ridiculous, but actually what happens is these patterns that no longer serve us are energy that is trapped in your energy field, and these blocks have remained in the consciousness of the age you had when you've created these patterns. And so when you release them, when they're being released with the help of the celestial energies, sometimes they need a little time to grow up. By which I mean perhaps there's been a shift in a certain area of your life, but then it bumps into another block from maybe perhaps when you were a little older. Sometimes when a specific theme in your life is being healed, different emotions can come up. What I'm saying is, don't be discouraged when you feel these old wounds coming up again. Because if it's not the first time you're addressing things like self-worth or insecurity or not being able to accept yourself, you will see an evolution. Your journey is a cyclical process, and the same things are coming up again and again. But you're not always starting from the same point. When you want to heal them, you're moving up the ladder, and some of them, some blocks might take a long time, and some of them are headstrong. It takes a lot of courage being willing to take a look at these depths of emotions. What I found a helpful tool is the map of consciousness developed by David R. Hawkins. If you don't know this map, it's really interesting because it describes, or it's a table of all emotions, and they're sorted in sort of a level of vibration from highest to lowest. I can put a link in the description if you're interested. It can really help you identify emotions. He describes shame as the lowest vibration, and you might recognize, if you apply this table to your own experiences, that when you've gone through shame, it might suddenly be that you start to feel guilty about the same topic, or even feel hopeless. Or when you release shame and guilt, suddenly there's room to grieve. Or suddenly there's fear coming up, or you start to desire things or get angry about the situation. When you're starting to feel pride and start to demand things from other people, that's when you know that you're getting close to the tipping point. As soon as you've reached the courage to deal with a specific situation, to take action for yourself in this situation, then you've switched into higher vibrations, higher frequency, and you open up the way to acceptance and optimism and understanding, love, joy, peace, and eventually perhaps enlightenment. By no means do I address this map of consciousness as a way to force yourself to go into those stages. It's just a map so you can acknowledge what is happening, what you're doing, and it can be encouraging to see that you're moving along your journey and that it's cyclical. And I'd like to emphasize again that the reason that we're doing all of this emotional and spiritual work is so that we can be able to create the life that feels authentic for us on all levels in this 3D physical reality. We do this to embody spiritual wisdom and love in our physical reality. And this closes the circle for me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it brought you some new information. If you liked it, please click the like button, because it really helps a lot to spread the videos that I'm making. And so this way we can reach a lot more people who might need this support. And if you like my videos and you're hungry for more, please don't hesitate to put in the comments what you're curious about. What questions do you have on your twin flame and spiritual journey? Are you more interested in hearing about the energy updates, channeled messages, or are you interested in inner healing? Or do you want to learn more about interesting spiritual books related to the twin flame journey? I actually like to read a lot of books because they give me a framework and a structure to contain the intuitive messages that I receive. And I'd love to share this knowledge with you if you're interested in that. Anyway, that was just a question. What topics do you like the most? So if you haven't already, please subscribe and you'll be one of the first to receive these new videos. I'm sending you a lot of love. Bye.